What's an unfun fact? When your skin becomes red from spending too much time under the sunlight, it's basically because your skin cells are committing suicide to avoid becoming cancerous. Brush-tail possums are coprophagic, eat their own. They need their food to go through their digestive system twice to get all the nutrients. They're nocturnal, so spend the night eating eucalyptus and other plant leaves and flowers. During the day, they curl up into a little ball with their mouths close to their bums, and eat the soft poo as it comes out in. Then while they're out at night, they poo out hard, long pellets of poo, having absorbed all the nutrients. Touching an AM radio broadcast tower will kill you, and not only will it kill you, but it will hurt the entire time you're dying. Number 1, the voltage is so high that your hands would instantly clamp to whatever charged part of the tower you touched. Then because it's oscillating at a frequency your cells can't feel, you wouldn't be able to feel yourself being electrocuted until it starts to heat your body from the current, and you'd also be able to hear your body acting as a speaker where you'd literally be able to hear whatever was on that particular station as you die. That brain-eating amoebas exist at all, and is also pretty commonly found in freshwater ponds and lakes. Apparently only 4 people have survived getting it in the last 50 years. I have a friend that got LASIK eye surgery, and then 2 months after she started getting eye pain and was losing her vision. I mention later in comments, but I think she cut it close and went swimming a little too soon. Somehow, a flesh-eating amoeba got into her eye via the eye flap left over from the surgery, and started eating her cornea. She was in serious pain and eventually lost all sight. Seems like they managed to kill off the amoeba, and then she got a cornea transplant. You may have heard that South Koreans have a superstition called fan death, where if you keep a fan on too long it will kill you. The history of its origins is much darker. When people committed suicide and the coroner had to determine cause of death, they would say it was death by fan. This is to save the face of the family and not cause them shame. It eventually became a superstition and one that Westerners find funny. I'll give you 2. The most common cause of death for tall people is a heart attack, brought on by the fact that their hearts just naturally have to work harder than average to circulate all that blood through that larger body. Left-handed people are most likely to die in an accident involving a power tool, because they're all designed by right-handed people, for right-handed people. I'm tall, 6'6.5 or 1.98 meters, and I'm left-handed. Which one will it be for me? Edit. Yay, my first ever award. I got a yikes. Thank you, generous Redditor. When the gas chambers were first assembled and experimented with at the Auschwitz concentration camp, the SS soldiers that oversaw the process found that the people inside would start screaming as soon as the gas agent was dropped in. The screaming was so loud that it could be heard through the thick walls of the building, and the victims would continue screaming over the course of 20 minutes until it gradually faded to nothing. The screaming disturbed the soldiers, believe it or not, so they tried to think of a way to drown out the noise so they didn't have to hear it. Their idea was to get 2 motorcycles and rev the engines as loudly as they could at the same time during those 20 minutes. It didn't work. This article on waitbetween.com is full of unfun facts. But if you read it, maybe you can take action against it. It's called The Tail End. Here's an especially unfun excerpt. I've been thinking about my parents, who are in their mid-60s. During my first 18 years, I spent some time with my parents during at least 90% of my days. But since heading off to college and then later moving out of Boston, I've probably seen them an average of only 5 times a year each, for an average of maybe 2 days each time. 10 days a year. About 3% of the days I spent with them each year of my childhood. Being in their mid-60s, let's continue to be super optimistic and say I'm one of the incredibly lucky people to have both parents alive into my 60s. That would give us about 30 more years of coexistence. If the 10 days a year thing holds, that's 300 days left to hang with mom and dad. Less time than I spent with them in any one of my 18 childhood years. When you look at that reality, you realize that despite not being at the end of your life, You may very well be nearing the end of your time with some of the most important people in your life. If I lay out the total days I'll ever spend with each of my parents, assuming I'm as lucky as can be, this becomes starkly clear. It turns out that when I graduated from high school, I had already used up 93% of my in-person parent time. I'm now enjoying the last 5% of that time. We're in the tail end. Parvovirus can infect dogs and cats at any particular age and kill them pretty efficiently. It's especially good at doing this with puppies. There's no cure and no antiviral, just boosters and hydration for you can give them. When a dog comes home healthy from the recovery from a parvo infection, they're contagious for 2 weeks, and if they vomit anywhere at all, including dog parks, that freakin' virus is able to survive for up to a year, including in 100+ degree weather. Parvovirus sucks.